Hi, welcome back to Everything I've Never Said. I am Lakshata, and today I'm gonna talk about music. This is kind of a weird episode because I haven't planned anything out. I don't have a list of things I want to talk about or something. I'm just gonna see what comes off, like comes to my mind, and gonna just blurt it out. And I want to see how it goes because usually I follow a pretty planned approach, but I want to be a bit spontaneous also because there's really not much you can script when it comes to music. Uh, See, this is why you plan these things out. Anyway, so the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about music is how I used to think listening to a certain genre or a certain type of music doesn't affect your mood. If it's I'm happy and I'm in a good cheerful mood and I'm feeling pretty nice and I suddenly play a bunch of sad songs, I used to think it doesn't matter. I used to think if I'm happy on the inside, why should it matter if I'm listening to something sad, which is something I probably already listened to before. I never used to notice or think that it impacted my mood until recently when I actually made a clear observation. And it turns out that it does. Not even just the fact that if you're happy and you're listening to sad music, you're gonna feel sadder, but also if you're sad and you're listening to happy music, you're gonna feel better. And I'm sure there's science behind this because people talk about this so much, but I haven't done any research at all. Frankly, I haven't put any ounce of research into this episode, so I'm not even gonna try to get into it. But one thing I do wonder is that if it's such a well established fact that the type of music you listen to affects your mood, why do most people gravitate towards sad music? Isn't aren't people driven by a desire to be happy? Or is it something is it something maladaptive that's going on? Wait, that's such a good question. That's such a good question. I should write that down. The next thing I want to talk about is l- my phases with music. Now, I don't know if this is just a me thing or if other people go through it too, because it's kind of been a very important aspect of my relationship with music. Why am I acting like that's such an important thing? It's I go through these phases with music where I can go through a time period of 3 months where I'm oh, every song is magical and it's hitting the right spot and it's so good and it's so perfect, and oh, the vocals, oh, the lyrics, oh, the instrumentals, blah 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 blah. And I'm wow, every single song I listen to, I'm this is the best thing I've heard. And I'm making playlists and I'm so creative with them and I'm listening to them religiously, so on and so forth. And then I'll suddenly, without warning, transcend into this somewhat of a dry spell with music, where every single song I listen to is just bland, boring, repetitive. Something just shifts, something just doesn't hit the same, and it's so confusing and it's so annoying because there's so many things in my life that I cannot do without music because they are either very repetitive or very boring or very long. Like taking a walk, okay? You're taking a walk in a gated community, and I take pretty long walks, they're an hour and a half or something, and I am just walking in circles. And if I do not have music to accompany me, to give me an incentive to, keep walking, I'm not gonna. Sometimes I've tried to walk without music on, and I'm just what the hell is going on? I see people do that. They're not even with anyone. I get if you're walking and you're talking to someone on the phone or right next to you or something, but I've seen people who literally walk without anything playing in their ears, no music, no podcast. They're literally raw dogging their morning walks, and I have no idea how they do it because it's just so repetitive. And how many times am I going to look at the same buildings and the same trees and be wow, so fascinating, when I'm doing this thing every single day for an entire week? Because walks kind of help my mood and I like taking them, but only if I have If there's no music, there's no walk. And I get that. That's the thing about music in me, that I listen to music a lot. Although I don't know if it's any more or less than the average person, but I do listen to music a lot, in my opinion. And there was a time when I was like maybe 15 or 16, which was literally just last year, but when I used to listen to music while I was doing everything, like if I was sitting in my room, I have to play music. If I was cooking, I have to play music. If I'm taking a walk, I'm playing music. If I'm going to school, I'm playing music. And I mean, it's not wrong. I'm not saying it's like fundamentally flawed or anything, but I feel like it's overstimulating. I don't know. I get overwhelmed by these things pretty often, and the thing about music to me is that when I'm listening to it, I my attention is completely diverted towards it. So when people tell me stuff like, "Oh, you can, I study with music on," or like I do my note making with music on, and I'm like, I would, as much as I would love to do that, I know my brain is not gonna be able to focus on the more important task at hand. So this might just be a me problem where I felt like I was listening to music way too much in way too many contexts and situations, and it was actually doing the opposite of what I wanted it to do for me, which was overwhelming me. Like, I'll give you an example. When you're cooking, some people love to have music on. And I used to think I was like that too, that I loved to have music on when I was cooking. But lately I've been cooking much more than I used to in the past, and I have realized that anytime I have music on and I'm cooking, my brain is focused on the music. And I make so many mistakes, so many mistakes. And it also like just takes away from the experience. Like, I have gone on road trips, and instead of like soaking in the experience around me, which I'm supposed to be doing, I'm listening to music. And again, for most people, how it goes is that music is in the background, and what they're experiencing or doing firsthand is at the forefront of their experience. But for me, these things are kind of inverted, which is why I have started to cook or go for road trips in silence. And it is life changing. It is absolute, and I know this sounds funny, I know this sounds insane, but for me this was a huge problem. The way music used to overwhelm me when I was, and you would be like, "Oh, you could just turn it off. It's not that big of a problem." But I don't know, I felt it was weirdly like I felt like I was supposed to be playing music. Oh my god, I sound insane. But yeah, so I have stopped playing music in a lot of situations. Like, I don't shower with music on anymore. And it's okay. Like, I don't mind as much as I thought I would. Like, I don't cook with music anymore, and I don't go on road trips with music anymore. And it's actually made life so much more fun. And what triggered this entire journey for me was when I read this quote that nature has plenty of music for those who are willing to listen. And I was like, I have literally gone to road trips in the mountains, and instead of listening to like the birds chirping or something, I was listening to songs. Again, music is beautiful. I do not think music is a bad thing. To this point, I depend on it a lot. But I think I've kind of lost my ability to listen to it as a means of focusing, and now it's become more of like a thing I listen to when I need to be listening to music. Wait, that makes no sense. It's like people tend to use music to focus, right? It doesn't work for me. If I'm using music to focus, I'm focusing on the music. Yeah, that's that. So I've actually kind of stopped listening to music as much, and instead of it making my life worse like I'd thought, it's actually made my life better, which is always a good sign. And I think there is a thing such as excessive listening to music. Another thing about music that I think about a lot is how it has such a like importance in today's generation. I think music has always been important, but I feel like now it's instrumental in bringing people together more than ever before. And I'm not just, I think that's because I have had a lot of my friendships and the beginnings of them attached to music in some way or the other. Or like music became the reason I become friends with someone, or music becomes the reason I get closer to someone. Like, I remember I found this person in my class really cool, and I'm like, I want to be friends with her, and I think she's amazing and interesting. And I was like, how do I find some common thing for us to talk about? So I stalked her social media and I found a bunch of music on it that I really liked too. And I was like, wow, so this is our common ground. This is what we can start our friendship on. And it kind of worked. It worked. And I have so many friendships in my life, or so many relationships in my life, where I'm just like connected to them through music. So I feel like that's an amazing thing. Like, you would never think something that is seemingly so small can connect so many people, but it does, and that is insane. Which is why my Spotify is always stocked with playlists of what I've been listening to, because it makes me so happy if somebody's like, "Oh, the first impression of mine that I had of you was through your Spotify." That just makes me so happy. I also feel like it kind of is my way of keeping conversations going when I really want to talk to someone but I don't have anything to say to them. I can just bring up something about music. So that's that. Next, I want to talk about my music taste. I like it. I mean, obviously I do. That's why it's my music taste, but I feel like I am not a person who listens to a lot of obscure artists, and I really want to because I like the idea of it. But the thing is, the way I discover new music is that I just see what's popular and what everyone's listening to, and I'm like, well, I pop it in and it's nice and I like it and I listen to it. But I want to be the person who discovers underground artists and listens to them. But for me, I don't know what it is. Maybe I just have an objectively bad taste in music. Or maybe my brain has been conditioned to like commercial stuff. I have no idea. But the thing is, the more I listen to like obscure, unknown artists and bands, the more confused I am. Because they don't do this, like, they just don't hit the same. And again, this could totally be because I have a horrible taste in music and not because they're actually bad. I think artists that are not very popular are still very fucking talented and they just don't have the success they deserve. But I don't know, maybe my brain is so used to like the the commercial trash that I just cannot get myself to like something else. Like, obviously there have been exceptions to this. Like, I found bands and artists that I really like that not many people knew about. But I feel like there's this weird pressure around listening to music for it to be obscure. And I know this is a pretty superficial problem to have, but I feel like people almost silently expect you to listen to music no one's listened to. And this is, oh my god, this is so utopian. This is such a stupid problem to have. And I'm so lucky that I have this problem. But I listen to pretty commercial music. I don't listen to any weird genres. I listen to like pop. And that to like the famous artists. And I like it. I like it. Okay? And people will always have this silent air of expectation around what you're listening to and whether it's good enough or not, and whether it's like obscure enough. But I like it. I like what I listen to. I feel like some people take the idea of listening to obscure music so far that it just becomes a complex and they don't even like what they're listening to anymore. It just exists because it's cool or whatever. And that is just such a sad way to live because it literally doesn't matter. Like, this is not that deep. You can like the latest TikTok song, if you think it sounds nice, I don't think there's any problem with it. I don't think it's embarrassing because I have seen people on like TikTok and Instagram be very sad about their favorite underground artist getting popular. I think that's pretty stupid. I think that's pretty weird. In fact, number one, they're your favorite underground artist, and they could really get a kickstart into their career through Instagram and social media. Like, I have heard of so many artists who have gotten their big break because one of their songs went viral on Instagram. So, if you really like them, you should be happy for them that they have gotten this opportunity to, maybe make their career a bit better and a bit more widespread. And number two, literally, what does it matter if a lot of people enjoy the songs you enjoy? Like, I don't get the shame around liking music that's popular on TikTok. Like, literally, what is wrong with that? I find it like it has happened to me so many times that I've listened to a song before it went viral on social media, and I loved that song before that, and it went viral on social media, and I felt so angry about it. I felt like I had been robbed of the right to like that song or something. But then I literally was like, does it even matter? Like, this is such a stupid thing to care about. Your favorite song getting popular on TikTok. What does it matter? It literally doesn't fucking matter. There's so many bigger problems in life, and I feel like it's so stupid when people just get so mad about gatekeeping artists. Like, if you like an artist, why do you want to gatekeep them? This is such a weird thing to do. Like, I like an artist, I don't want them to be successful. It is insane. I don't get it. I don't get it. But I get the idea and the enigma around listening to like music no one's listened to, and the cool songs and band names, and I, as much as I would love to be that, and as much as I sometimes do try to be that way, and as much as I think it's amazing to like a diverse range of music and songs because then you have something to listen to at all times, I am still perfectly okay with my music taste being a mixed bag. Like, I listen to a bunch of artists not many people know, and then I also listen to some artists that everyone knows and who are popular on TikTok and everyone is talking about, and I kind of don't give a fuck anymore. I don't even know why I've talked about this at such great length. But yeah, I think it's pretty interesting how people get very offended when social media starts liking a song they liked. Like, there has to be some weird psychology behind this, but again, I didn't do any research, so. Again, from that, I think I should also talk about commercial music, like the commercialization of music. And I'm not saying that it's a new concept or anything because artists have always made songs and earned money and gone on tours and, you know, made gotten their bread and butter through producing and singing and composing music. Like, obviously, there has always been a commercial aspect to it, but I feel like they still maintained their originality. Like, artists still had their own sound and their voice, and I'm not saying that's not true now. I could literally name 500 artists who have their own unique sound that was completely their own and they came up with it. And the thing about it is that when a certain genre of music gains traction, like, I think people call this the Olivia Rodrigo effect, because when she got popular, when her songs and album first went viral, everybody started releasing music that sounded exactly like hers, which kind of took the hype and the, uniqueness out of what she's made. And that, I think, is what the commercialization of music is. Not the idea that what you're making is going to earn you money, but the fact that you are making something because you know it's going to earn you money. Like, making something solely because, oh, this is what everyone's listening to. Like, I feel like with Charlie XCX releasing her new album and it being a very confrontational hyperpop and kind of like a different genre, like not very mainstream, we are gonna be listening to a lot of similar songs and a lot of artists with this brand appear in the next like year, I think. And a lot of people are gonna try to emulate that, and hope to make money off of it. And while I don't think there's anything wrong, like this is just how marketing works. Like you see what the market and the consumer is liking, and you try to get a product out that's similar. Like, oh, everybody's stressing about aging and fine lines, we should get like these weird crystal stones out that you're gonna roll on your face and they're gonna fix your aging. Like, you don't know if it's a fad or if it's true, but because it's being sold to you so much, you're gonna purchase it, and that is what companies and markets capitalize off of, essentially. And again, I'm just saying this from knowledge, but I do think, in my personal opinion, the reason why these artists even gained any sort of traction to begin with was because they sounded different. Like, I heard this quote that said, like, if you appeal to everyone, you appeal to no one. So if we see, like, with the emergence of artists like Chapel Roan and Olivia Rodrigo or Charlie XCX and Sabrina Carpenter even, they have not like, they're not necessarily new to the industry, but they were hitting or missing, and suddenly one of their songs became like a great, like, TikTok anthem or whatever, and became song of the summer. And now every other song being released sounds like espresso or sounds like hot to go. And it takes the fun out of it, and it takes the originality out of music, which is what music 90% of music to me is originality, which is ironic because I literally just said that I listen to pretty generic music. But yeah, I still do know how to appreciate a good song, even though I know that it's not something I'm into that much. I can still say that objectively, this is a great song and this is an amazing work of music. But I feel like the constant desire to emulate other new and emerging artists who have gained fame through a certain sound is taking the most essential part of music out of it. And I mean, I can't even blame the artists. Like, I can't blame the small artists who are doing this, because there literally isn't any way to get any sort of traction. Like, before, the music industry wasn't this dependent on social media. It was more like you're signed to a label and they do the promotion for you. They make sure you get what where you need to get. And now you don't get signed by a label until you have like a certain amount of followers, which never mattered before. Like, it didn't matter at all, I think. Because social media wasn't as relevant, maybe. But now these artists need to gain a certain amount of followers, and to do that, they have to associate themselves with a certain genre, a certain artist that other people like, so that their enjoyers go and follow them. And this is completely like based off on what I have heard, nothing based on any concrete research. But I'm pretty sure it's true because it makes a lot of sense. And I feel like because of the commercialization of music, there definitely has to be this weird cause effect relationship between the emergence of underground artists who create something different and people gravitating towards them, and the TikTokification of music. I don't know. Like, maybe because everybody on TikTok is trying to sound the same and not trying to, make a distant place for themselves. People have developed this weird resentment towards music that's curated or popularized on social media, because in people's heads there's a very specific uh, genre of the music TikTok likes, and every other person is trying to create that music. And I think that's what's, again, completely based off of my own perception of things. But it could be true. It could be true. Yeah. Next, I want to talk about everyone, like every artist releasing albums, especially this year. All my favorite artists have released an album this year, or like went on tour this year. And I live in a country where not many people tour. And I know that a world tour is essentially a few hand-picked countries with a bunch of obscure ones that nobody visits. And it's not a world tour in any capacity, but like all my favorite artists have released albums this year, and I've listened to them and I've loved them and I've been obsessed with them, obviously. And I have loved to see whatever the aftermath of them releasing the album was. And all of them are going on tours. And all of them are going on concerts. And I haven't gone to a single. I have never gone to a concert. Like, it is such a sad thing that I'm 17 years old and I've never gone to a concert. Which is, again, such a dystopian problem to have. Like, come on. But I really want to go to a concert. The thing is, I love the concept of concerts. And I mean, it's not a very hateable concept anyway. I love the idea of like the preparation that goes into the concerts, and the camping outside the concert venue and all that. And I feel like it would be so fun, but no artist comes to my country, and I am not gonna book a plane ticket and go to another continent just to see an artist. I know people do that, and I'm not shaming them. I'm not saying it's a wrong or horrible thing to do. Like, that's certainly fine. But I know I am not gonna do that. It's so much work. It's so much work. But yeah, I mean, a lot of artists have been going on tours, and every other artist I see has an album coming up, has a tour coming up. And I have only ever experienced concerts through like pictures and videos, and I would love to go to a concert, but that doesn't mean I'm just gonna go to any concert that's happening around me, even though I don't listen to the artist or like have only heard like two songs from them. Like, I'm not gonna go to a concert just because it's happening. I want my first concert to be special, like somebody, like some artist that I love so much and that they've shaped my life or something, and that I know the lyrics of like every single song of theirs too. I'm not just gonna go to a concert from a band or a singer that I haven't heard much from, like two songs, and I just know who they are. Because a lot of artists do come here, but they're just not the ones I know. Also, concert timings are so unfortunate because they're always going to happen during a time for me where I have to give a very important set of examinations, or when I'm not going to be there, so on and so forth. It's insane and it's very annoying. But yeah, there's a lot of like fear of missing out that I feel around concerts. But I also really want my first concert experience to be something special. So I'm kind of saving it. So I'm kind of like trying to not just give in to the urge of, oh, I want to go to a concert so bad, so I'm going to go to any concert I can find. This was a pretty pointless thing to talk about. Yep. Next, and I think the last thing I want to talk about is listening to music for the sound and or listening to music for the lyrics. I personally, because I'm like a writer, I don't like to call myself that, because I write sometimes, and because I'm interested in languages or whatever, I listen to music for the lyrics. So the sound of the music, like the whole sonical, I don't know, I forgot the word, but like the sound of the music is just not that important to me. Like, I'm not saying I'm gonna listen to a song with good lyrics even though it sounds bad, but I actually do that a lot. I don't really care for the album's whole, you know, versatility. Like, I mean, I would appreciate it, but that's not the only thing I care about. Whereas all the people I know mostly care about the sound of the music, and the instrumental and all that. And I feel like both are equally important. I mean, they're pretty important. Like, I don't know how you can listen to a song the lyrics of which you don't understand or you don't care about, and or how can you listen to a song whose lyrics you get but it just sounds bland. I don't know. I get pretty bored of songs that I listen to for the lyrics, actually, because if they don't have much going on sonically, again, I keep using this word and I have no idea if I'm using it right or if that's even the word. I think I need to Google it. Sonically is an adverb that means relating to sound. So I was right. I'm using it right. That's good to know. So yeah, I get pretty bored of songs that the lyrics of which I love, but the sound of which is boring or unpleasant to me. And I think I usually listen to songs that sound nice more for longer than I listen to songs whose lyrics are nice. Even though I still pretty much claim to be a person who cares about lyrics, because anytime I'm listening to an album, I kind of don't give a shit about how it sounds, because I know that always grows on me. I don't know what it is. I could find an album or a song shitty in my first listen. 3 listens later, it's the song that I've been listening to for 3 months straight. I have no idea how that works, and I know it doesn't happen with everyone. People have pretty critical reviews of music, and I usually never do, because it takes me like 3 listens to change my mind with every single song or artist that I listen to, which is weird. I don't have a backbone when it comes to music. That's literally what it sounds like. But yeah, I mean, I pretty much care about lyrics. Like, if I'm listening to an album, I am gonna open Genius and I'm gonna read every single lyric and the little annotations they make to know what the artist wants to say. I care about it so much. So much. Okay, said that was going to be the last thing I'm going to talk about, but there's another thing I want to talk about now that I think about it, and that is listening to short versus long songs. I don't know. I don't like long songs. I mean, it's pretty subjective. There are certain songs that I've listened to and I'm like, I wish this song was 10 times longer than this it is. And that's just because I love them so much. But I feel like for me in my head, a short song is a song that's lesser than 2 minutes, 30 seconds. And a long song is like a song that's longer than 4 minutes. Or even like 3 minutes, 30 seconds plus. And I think I like both of them. I love songs that are short and crisp and they say what they want to say as soon as they can. But I love songs that are like 6 minutes long and they have like repeated choruses and repeated lyrics. But that just really depends on the song. Like, there are certain songs I listen to that I'm like, I would kill myself if this song was 6 minutes long. Like, I feel like it should have. It ended exactly where it's supposed to end. And then there's some songs I listen to and I'm like, this song is so long, and there's a moment in every long song where I'm like, this would have been the perfect ending. But the song doesn't end there. There's like 3 minutes still left, so it's only halfway through. This makes no sense. I don't even know why I'm talking about it. But yeah, I have no idea where I currently stand when it comes to songs, although I hate songs that are shorter than a minute. Like, what? Don't you have anything more to say? That doesn't count as a song. If you're like, it's shorter than a minute, that's not a song. That's hardly anything. But again, it just depends. It just depends on the artist. And I think some artists really pull off the short song concept too. But I think I prefer. My ideal length for a song is 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Like, that I feel like is a good point to be like, okay, fine. Fine, this is enough. Although I've heard of songs that are like 30 minutes long. That's not a song. That's like a monologue. I don't know. What's the term? I don't know. I don't want to hear a song for 40 minutes. That is insanely long. Like, I have heard albums shorter than that. I don't know how you have so much to say about one thing, but if you do go off, I mean, I am the one with the podcast, so. On that note, I don't think I have anything more to talk about. I have no idea if this episode sounds good. I'm gonna give it a listen and I'm gonna see if it's even worth torturing anyone with. And I'm gonna see if this sees the light of day. Then you better believe that there's gonna be so many other spontaneous rambling sessions that are gonna be coming on the podcast. On that note, I hope you enjoyed listening to me literally do nothing but empty talk about music for like, I think, 30 minutes. Much longer than that. I'm gonna see you soon. Have a great week, month, whatever. And thank you so much. Bye.